Good morning, everybody. I'm Leanne from NLP Freedom, and I have the gorgeous Kerry here with me today.
Morning. Kerry's
actually come in to talk about her experience with coaching and also to let you know why it's important to wear comfy undies. Should we tell them now? No, we'll do that in a minute. So Kerry came in for coaching. Actually, you tell them the story. Why did you come for coaching?
Well, okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. I actually met this person who was a friend of my husband's back at Christmas time, and he is an NLP therapy trainer, and he suggested basically just do it. Don't try it, just do it. Got nothing to lose. So that was when I started sort of looking into it and found this beautiful person here. And
so was the process what you expected?
I wasn't expecting anything, and I think that was the key. I think coming into this, you need to have an open mind about what to expect, because it's nothing like you've tried before. Counselling, anything like that, there's no comparison. So open mind is a big key.
So when we look at Kerry pre-coaching and we look at Kerry post-coaching, well, there wasn't so much of this smiling and this evil little look that we have now. There wasn't so much of that. In fact, it cost me a fortune in tissues. I don't have to buy as many tissues these days. So if you were to sum up in a sentence, Kerry before coaching and Kerry now, how would you describe it? Like, for those people that really, they want to take that step, but they don't really know if it's for them, how would you describe the difference?
No longer in my head. I was one that lived in my head. Now,
so what does that mean to you?
Now I go into my head, process it, and leave. I don't hold on to things. I don't. Yeah, I'm a new person. I'm a different person. I've grown.
That's really cool. So if you're with us today, give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. I can see Kylene and Sam. Hello to you. If you've got a question for Kerry, or if there's something that you would like to know, she's actually very open-minded. This is actually Kerry on her best behaviour. This is not the Kerry that I normally see. The Kerry that I see has that look right there most of the time and that little chuckle. So when you say you're a different person, have the people around you noticed any difference?
Yes, they have. Even people that I've been around on a regular basis have actually seen a change in me. I'm a different person to even a month ago, and I continue to grow daily. My kids are still a little bit skeptical because I do still lose my rag on occasions, but it's only for momentary moments, and then
Is that where you're wearing uncomfy undies? Is that when you get a bit cross? Because that's a really big thing. Actually, we need to tell them why you need to wear comfy undies. No, we'll keep that. Just something to look forward to. So in a snapshot, tell us what a normal day for Kerry would be like emotionally, as far as how would you get through the day, and what is it that would hold you back, that you really sort of found was difficult?
Okay, pre-NLP therapy, I was probably an extremely emotional person. Probably throwing it out there, I lost my husband last year, so I was dealing with a lot of grief.
And that's huge.
And a lot of internal things. I've spent years in therapy, but for some reason I kept coming back to the same things all the time, even though my tool bag was as full as it could possibly be.
So what was in your tool bag before?
Oh, just strategies on how to deal with certain emotions and certain situations, so this was stuff that you've read or stuff that you've gone to see people? Or? Gone to see people. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on therapy sort of since a young age.
So did you find that it helped you understand why you were feeling the way that you were feeling, but perhaps it didn't give you the tools to actually then process it?
Oh, definitely.
And counselling is a really important modality, and it does a lot for a lot of people. But sometimes it's a case of sitting in that issue, but then you drive there thinking about the issue, and you sit there thinking about the issue, and then you drive home thinking about the issue, and ultimately you've still got the issue.
And that was basically what was happening. Like I'd have, you know, sort of years of not having to deal with something, and all of a sudden it would crop up, and it would just be like a revolving door. Like it would just continually crop up. And I found...
Yeah. So what was it like for the people around you?
Oh, I was probably...
Don't hold back. You can let loose. Come on, be the real Kerry. Show these wonderful people what the real Kerry's like.
I was an emotional mess and an emotional roller coaster. I would be angry at everything, angry at everybody, you know, tears at the drop of a hat. Just couldn't figure out sort of why I was feeling. I was always anxious. I was constantly in my head. Like I would live in my head, and I would process things over and over and over again.
Would that help?
No, it just made it worse.
In fact, when Kerry first came, her major goal was to get through one day without crying. So, and that was something that she couldn't even imagine doing. It was, I mean, before we even really sat down and talked, I mean, Kerry was in tears, and for the first couple of sessions, I mean, that wasn't, it was something that you processed really quickly.
Yeah, I think maybe sort of all the counselling and things that I've done, and being open-minded about trying new things, because I hated feeling like I was feeling. It just sort of gave me a bit of a tool, I suppose, to just be open and accept what was happening around me. And
so, what was the weirdest thing about coming for coaching, other than the coach?
Yeah, you and I together is not a good match these days. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You want to sort of elaborate on that a little?
Well, we did some strange things, and this is the thing about when you come for coaching. We do some really cool stuff, but it's hard to wrap language around, isn't it? It's hard to actually describe what it is that you do, because you release so much of the things that are holding you back that then afterwards, when you try to recapture that, to talk about it, the emotion's often not there, so it's hard to recall.
Yeah, you
especially when your undies are digging into you. I mean, that's the worst. I mean, that's the worst.
Okay, will we tell them the story about the undies?
In a minute, just 1 minute, 1 minute. So if you've got someone who is considering coming for coaching, and it is a really big step to take, because quite often when we're sitting in that emotion of not feeling our value, not thinking that we're worthy, not being able to succeed in all those previous times, it's very hard for us sometimes to actually take that extra step and try something else when in the past we've not had any success. So sometimes when we sit in that, it's comfortable. We know how that feels, and it's familiar. It's not good, but it's familiar. So stepping outside of that, so all that emotion that you had and all of the things that you were trying to process, did you find that you had to go over all of those things again, or was it something that was just easier to release because you didn't have to?
It was easier to release because I didn't have to. Look, I still have little moments. I think after 53 years of training your brain to be a certain way, it's hard to break habits. And, you know, yeah, there are little moments, but I'm aware of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I'm also aware of how to move forward.
And that's a really good point, because quite often when things happen to us, we relate that back to something about us. So when we interact with people who possibly aren't pleasant or aren't kind to us, or make some sort of a judgment in our mind, we find a way to make that about us and mind read what they mean. Whereas now things happen and it's just a case of things happening, and you take them on face value, and they no longer represent some failing of yours. I mean, I know that was the greatest gift that I had.
Yeah, and it's true. It's, you realise that whatever happens around you is actually not your issue. What other people think, what other people feel is actually their issue. not yours.
But we tend to use them because then they validate the way that we're feeling. So once we get rid of that, describe a coaching session.
I probably.
See, this is exactly what I mean. So it's like you can't go out and say, oh, well, we talked about this and we did that, we did this. It's like, I haven't got a clue what we did, but we did this stuff.
It's nothing that you'd ever experience. I've never experienced before. As I said, I've done years of counselling and years of therapy, and this is absolutely nothing like one I expected or anything I've ever done before. But the name NLP freedom, like that freedom is actually what you feel. And even in the first session, there was a change, but it wasn't a little change, it was a huge shift. And so over the course of the sessions that I've done, now we're just friends. But there's still so much more to learn.
I just want to share with you, Kerry came for these sessions and released a whole lot of stuff, and then she came to the stage where she wanted to create issues because she wanted to keep coming back. So she came back one day and she said, I think I'm getting really angry. I'm not sure, but I think I'm getting really angry. And I'm like, no, you're not. Anyway, we did this technique. So I sent her away with some tasking that quite often when we get angry, we have that moment and we just launch into anger. Whereas if we can actually interrupt that strategy and put something else in before we get angry, it often works a treat. So I'd actually like to introduce you to Kerry's cat. No, it's not what you're thinking. So you can explain this process. Tell them about the cat.
Leanne set me this task every time I felt like I was overwhelmed.
Hey, Melissa. Hey, Sam.
That I would introduce my cat. And it was a case of me patting my arm like this, and it was actually and
making the sound,
the purring sound,
which sounds like this. So to paint a picture for you here, Kerry's standing in the line at the bakery, and there's a kid in front of her who's touching all the bread, and her face before that was, come on, get angry. Don't laugh, get angry. What was your face like beforehand? Come on, make it up. Do the face.
Oh, yeah, well,
do the face. And she's like this little shit, And I said, so you can get angry. You actually have permission to get angry, but before you do, you have to stroke your cat 3 times. So this little kid's touching all the buns in the bakery. Do the angry face.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Yeah. Pat my cat and
make the noise. So of course what happens is every time that Kerry went to get angry, whether it was on the freeway because someone cut in on her, or it was on the phone call to the tax department, that we didn't actually tell her that she couldn't get angry, but before she did, she had to do this thing. So the tasking is that every day she had to introduce her cat to 5 people, just randomly.
Yes, yeah, and I had some interesting reactions. One of my girlfriends went totally in the gutter, and as you can imagine, we won't go there, but it was a difficult task. It actually did push me out of my comfort zone, but I am eternally grateful because now I find it is actually a really cool strategy. When I do feel that I'm getting anxious or getting wound up, just putting my hand on my arm is enough to just.
So there was somebody's husband that you didn't really know very well, and you went up to him and said, hey, just reenact that little situation for us. Now this man is probably a serious man. Let's paint him as a serious man. Like let's say that he's just. So Kerry goes up to him and says this.
I asked him if he wanted to pat my cat, and he called me a fucking idiot.
Gee, he's a good judge of character, isn't he? No, just joking.
I've had a lot of people just sort of look at me with this astonished look and just shake their heads, but we've moved past that now. And
so you can see how easy it is. Sometimes we look for the why. We feel a certain way. We focus on the why, but sometimes it's just about interrupting that strategy. And if you look at every time you get angry or you feel a certain emotion, you'll actually find that you react in the exact same way every time. So we can actually install some different strategies. Now, if you're not one that's actually inclined to stand in the bakery line glaring at a kid patting a cat and making cat noises, then we don't have to do that. It's obviously tailored to you. Now, Kerry's the sort of person that will run with that. Now, if you're a little more reserved, I'm not going to get you to do that, so don't feel afraid.
Yeah, Leanne does challenge you. She does take you completely out of your comfort zone. And if I hadn't
What's that feeling like, though? Is that a hard feeling? Is that a bad feeling?
No. Initially, yes, because you're self-conscious. You think that you're going to make a fool of yourself or whatever. But after therapy...
Yeah, but I don't make normal clients boot scoot. That was just you. I'm just tricking.
Yeah, but she still challenges me at times. She even challenged me yesterday in the messages. So
Kerry will send me a message with some blanket statement. Everyone tells me, rah, rah, and of course I'm like, who's everyone? And she's like, oh, just everyone. I say, but who? Oh, just people. What people? So yeah, it's a little rabbit hole, and sometimes it's just the things that we say when we get conscious and get curious about what we're actually saying. It tells us a lot. So is there a time where you actually thought during the coaching process, look, this is actually too intense for me, I can't cope with this? Or did you feel supported? Just how did you feel during the process?
No, I did feel supported. I went to places that I didn't want to go emotionally, but I needed to go to those places emotionally.
And the important thing to note here is when you go to those places, it's only you that goes there. You don't take me with you. So wherever it is that you go and the memories that you recall and the places that you see in your mind, they're your places. I don't go there with you. So you don't need to describe them. You don't need to be open for judgment. That's totally your place. So I have no idea where Kerry went in her mind. Since I've got to know Kerry, I've got a better idea of where she goes in her mind. But to this day, I don't know where she went. And that's not my thing, because NLP is content free. It's not about your story. It's about clearing that, preserving what it's teaching you, but then actually releasing that and going and writing a whole new story.
Yeah.
So underpants. So you got comfy undies on?
I definitely have. I've got the most comfortable underpants. I got them from Kmart. So
give us a thumbs up if you've got comfortable undies on, because this is a group thing, we'll share the love. So give us a thumbs up if you've got comfy undies on. So just sing something while we wait for a thumbs up.
I don't sing.
Yes, you do.
I was singing in the car, but only because I was being
So you
drowned.
don't sing, but you're singing in the car. So how are you singing then? Who's singing?
Oh.
Oh, look, all these thumbs up. I'm so glad the sisterhood is full of comfy undies today. So the importance of wearing comfy undies, it's actually quite metaphorical. What happened that day? And it's not what you think.
No. I think it was my second session with Leanne. We decided to do a timeline therapy. Timeline is when, not obviously, but you go back in your mind to when things happened. Now, that particular day, I didn't have very comfortable undies on, but it was extremely uncomfortable, obviously, around my stomach area.
Do you have that problem often? Are you likely to wear those sorts of undies?
No, not normally. For some reason, that day I did.
How the universe works, isn't it?
Now, I suppose the gist of the story is that through the timeline therapy, I discovered that a lot of the things that I'd been going to counselling for were actually not my issues, that they had been lovingly passed, sorry mum, from my mother while I was in utero. So a lot of the emotions that I was feeling, that I'd been to counselling for over and over and over and over and over again, had actually not been my emotions in the first place. So for, at the time, 52 years, I had been carrying all this emotional baggage and could never release or completely release anything.
And that's the thing. Quite often the issues that we have, we search desperately for why, but sometimes they're not even your issues. They're installed from a previous generation or even further back. So this is why we can't grab hold of them and slice them off, because we don't know what we're dealing with. It's just something that's running us, that it's almost like an autopilot. We just can't get a grip on why we do it. So it's not our issues. So this particular day, we released some major issues around Kerry's mum. And it was just really, after the session, we both just sort of realised that, you know, your unconscious mind is actually going to draw attention to the process long before it happens, because not only did the undies make you feel incredibly uncomfortable around your stomach area, that's actually the area where you naturally went during your session. And it was interesting how discomfort in that area related physically and also emotionally. So what did you do with the undies? Okay. Actually, she was really going to go to the bathroom and actually take them off, but I thought, I think you got to pay extra if we do that sort of stuff here. I don't know if my insurance covers that. But yeah, so
they've gone in the bin.
They've gone in the bin. Excellent. So thank you to everyone who's been with us today. Just in closing, I want you to, anybody that's sitting out there wanting to go to coaching, whether you want to come to me or you've got another practitioner and you are about to take that step, but it's really scaring the hell out of you, because the discomfort that you're feeling today is something that you're familiar with. You don't like it, but it's familiar, so it's safe. And you're about to take that step, but there's something that's just holding you. I just want you to address, or just share with those people, because that was you. That's been me. That's been a lot of people. What would you say to those people?
Look, the words from Nick ring in my ear.
Who's Nick?
Nick is the person that started this journey.
Yeah. I received a phone call from Kerry one day, and it's like, I need to come and see you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Why is this? Because I've been told to. And I'm like, well, I can't see you if someone's told you to come. You need to want to come. No, it's just my friend. He's over there. He said, find this practitioner. You need to go there. Just do it. But what is it? It doesn't matter. Just do it. So you're really thinking, well, I have no idea. And, you know, as humans, we like to know the process before we step into it. That's just who we are, because it's our job to keep ourselves safe. And if we don't know what's going to happen, there's a perception of threat. So it's totally understandable to be in that stage. So taking that step, so talking to those people who are thinking about it.
Yeah, don't think about it. Don't question it. Don't even try it. Just do it. You've got nothing to lose, and you've got so much to gain.
So how's life now for you?
Oh, incredible. And it's only getting better daily. And
we only saw each other, what, 5 or 6 times? So when you look at, you know, all the years that you've been carrying this?
Yeah. I've never known so much emotional freedom. It's truly been life-changing. Truly been life-changing.
I'm so glad. So it's worth it?
Oh, so worth it. I love this lady, just so worth it. And, you know, it's even the first session, there was a change. Just be open with it. And it's not scary. Leanne's right, you don't have to go and don't have to share any of your emotional or secrets or whatever. That's not what this is about. You don't have to share anything if you don't want to. And
that's so true, because what we're doing is we're working with what that issue is preventing you from doing. We're not actually working with the issue. And really, you've probably thought and talked about that issue enough. We don't need to take you through that again. So I really want to thank you all for watching today. It's been a lot of fun. So it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Kerry, and goodbye from your cat.
Oh, there.
Make the noise. She's very angry. She's a very angry person. In fact, we need to work on that. She's very angry. This is this. Yeah, get angry.
I can't. I only get angry at the kids when they don't do what I tell them to do.
Is that often?
No, not very often at all.
I really hope you all have a really amazing day. If there's anything that you're struggling with right now, come in and have a chat. You know, how hard is that? We spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars every year servicing our car, and we don't even worry about handing over that money. But when it comes to us, we generally hold back and think that we're not actually worth it. Just think about the people around you that you'll inspire by stepping into your value. You're actually going to teach them that they can too. So my website is nlpfreedom.com.au. If you'd like to come in, just click on the book a session tab, and there's a whole heap of sessions there. You can choose a time that suits you. Thank you for coming in. I have so much gratitude for you because I know this was hard for you.
The feeling's mutual.
Oh.
So yeah, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but prior to
She looks very stressed.
Prior to NLP therapy, I would never have even considered this. Now it's just another part of my day.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I was nearly going to give her a plant to hide behind because she was very nervous about going on camera. But...
And she didn't even buy me a coffee.
Oh, we'll go now. We'll go now. I'll buy you two. Actually, no, because this testimonial has not been solicited. This has been given of your own free will.
It has. It has.
And the cat's happy too.
Yeah, the cat is very happy.
Have a really great day, everyone. I'm so glad that you tuned in, and I'll see you soon. And let's discover your new life and write a whole new story together.
Just do it.
Okay. Bye.
See ya. Was that a cat?